After a long break, I'm back, hyped up about seeing Justice League. Stay tuned for my Justice League review. So Justice League came out, and it has come out with a series of mixed reviews. Some people love it, some people hate it. Right now, what I'm gonna do is talk to you about my favorite things about this movie and kind of a couple problems that I saw with it. So let's just jump right into it. So my just general impression of this movie, it was above average. That's what I'll say. I will say it was above average. It's not great. It's not terrible. It's definitely better than Batman v Superman. It's definitely better than Suicide Squad. It's no way, shape, or form better than Wonder Woman. And I would say that it's probably about on par with Man of Steel. But having said all of those things, it wasn't as bad as a lot of people are saying. In my opinion, at least. A lot of people are just really, really hard on this franchise, hard on this movie, simply because of the way that the DCEU has been shaped so far. Like, Batman v Superman was literally a freaking dumpster fire. Like, it wasn't a great movie at all. And so I feel like a lot of people just had really, really, really low expectations going into this movie. I actually did as well. I wasn't really looking forward to anything other than finally seeing these characters on screen. And what I have to say is that with all the problems, all the things that have gone on behind the scenes and all the things that we've heard about, this is a much better movie than I expected to be. And it was something that kept my interest the entire time. So I'm gonna start with this first. The biggest problem with this movie is definitely the plotline has some holes in it. What I feel like, and what everybody has been saying, is that they rushed this movie too fast. There were only 4 DC movies before this, being Man of Steel, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, and Batman vs. Superman. That's not the right order, but those were the only 4 movies that happened before the Justice League. Where with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you had a 5, 6, 7, 8 movies that set up each character individually before you had this Justice League movie. And I think, honestly, that was the biggest problem when it came to the plot of this movie. I feel like 30 minutes of this movie should have been in-credit scenes in other movies. You had a lot of setup, a lot of build-up for characters, Cyborg, Flash, Aquaman. A lot of these things should have been in-credit scenes in other movies, and then that way they would have been able to take that part out of the movie and focus more on some of the deeper plot developing moments of this movie. I honestly didn't feel like they gave enough time to Aquaman and Atlantis and how him and Steppenwolf and that thing plays into this. I honestly didn't think that they gave enough time to, even the Amazonians, they had one of the cubes that Steppenwolf was trying to get. So there was just not enough development of these major parts, and just too much I felt on, like, I didn't really need to see Flash talking to his dad in jail. I feel like that's something that should be in his own movie. I didn't really feel like I needed to see so much of Cyborg's backstory within the movie. It seems like that is a weird, like, he had the most backstory in this entire movie, and that seemed a little bit weird. I wanted to just see more focus, especially at the beginning, of Batman and Wonder Woman trying to get this squad together and really developing it, and it just kind of all mashed together at a second. There was no kind of, it needed a second to marinate where they were all together before they fought and things like that. So it just happened a little bit too fast. That being said, I feel like they did the best with what they could do, considering the fact that they didn't have a bunch of movies to set up this movie. So that was honestly really my biggest complaint. The humor maybe would be one more complaint that I would have. It was kind of meh. It's not as funny. You could see where some Joss Whedon humor was sneaking in there, taking over from Zack Snyder. Like, you can see these different things happen at different points. So the humor didn't necessarily like blow me out of the water. It was funny at some parts. I laughed. I did laugh. I will say that. But it wasn't like over the top. Like, it wasn't like the most recent Thor movie. Like, the most recent Thor movie was just joke after joke after joke after joke. It was so many jokes. Almost too many jokes in my opinion. So it wasn't like that. But it was much more lighthearted than all the other DCEU movies up to this point, except for Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman wasn't really that dark, but the rest, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, were a little bit darker and gringier. So it wasn't that dark, which is something that I appreciated. I feel like one of the things that the DCEU has done really terribly is that they have a bunch of characters that are trying to make dark rather than letting Batman simply be the person who takes that dark energy, because that's his role in the DCEU, especially in the comic books. He is the kind of darker, more gringier, more like anti-hero that we have. And so it's just interesting to see them try to do that with all the characters, and I felt like it was a much better balance having characters in this movie not be so angsty and angry and all of that. It seemed like everybody was a little bit more jovial, so that was nice to see. So now let's get on to what I thought was good about this movie. And the good things that I thought about this movie, first and foremost, were the characters. If it wasn't for every single person playing their character doing it well, this movie would have been trash. And I'm talking from top to bottom. I feel like everybody played their role very, very well. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, obviously amazing. Aquaman, Jason Momoa as Aquaman, obviously amazing. Cyborg, amazing. Flash, amazing. I thought they all did a great job. Superman, I'm not the biggest fan of Superman as a character, but I will say that Henry Cavill playing Superman in this movie was much better than he played it in Batman vs. Superman, which was odd for me. I did not like his character in Batman vs. Superman. It was just too angsty and angry, and it was just not what I wanted. I would have to say, and this is probably going to be something that people are going to disagree with, is that I'm actually very unhappy that Ben Affleck doesn't want to play Batman anymore. And here's why. The thing that makes you the best Batman is not you playing Batman, it's how you play Bruce Wayne. And I think he plays Bruce Wayne better than Bale and Keaton and Kilmer and Clooney. Like, I personally think that he's played Bruce Wayne much better than all of them, like, period. And so that's always been my thing, is that the person who's playing Batman has to play Bruce Wayne well. That's the thing that I want to see, because Batman is just Batman. He's got a mask on. It's not like he's showing a lot of expression. He's just normally fighting and everything. Like, not that I want to say that that's not a hard thing to play, because I'm sure that it is, but it's relatively the same across the board. I honestly think that playing Bruce Wayne is the thing that sets you apart, and I love how Ben Affleck plays Bruce Wayne. So it's going to be really, really, really sad to see him go. I thought he did a really, really good job playing Bruce Wayne, getting everybody together, getting the team together in this movie. So I'm going to be really sad to see him go. If you didn't know that, I apologize for spoilers. He's trying to make an exit from the DCEU, so we'll see what's going to happen with that in the coming days. Some of my favorite scenes, I love the scene with the Amazons fighting Steppenwolf. I felt like that was a great scene. Same with what they're doing with the underwater fighting in Atlantis. That is amazing. I'm so excited to see what they're going to do with the Aquaman movie. It looks like it's shaping up to be quite an amazing film. How they're setting up the Easter eggs they're dropping for Flash and doing Flashpoint. Flashpoint is one of my favorite comic book arcs, and so I'm really excited to see what they do and how they're gonna use this to kind of reset everything. It's like the perfect reset. I'm gonna do a whole video on this in the future, so we'll talk about that. So stay tuned for that, but I'm really excited for what they're gonna do. So like I said, I don't have a lot to say about this. I don't have a lot to say about what was good. Like, this movie was good overall. The characters were good. The characters were good. They were played well. The story was a bit meh. Some of the fights, some of the things that they were doing, the fight scenes, I loved. It moved along quickly. It didn't drag on like Batman v Superman, so that was great. So it was above average in my opinion. If you're a DC fanboy, which I actually am, you are going to love this movie. I don't think that you're going to help but love this movie. If you're not, you might not love it so much. The last thing that I have to say is the end credit scenes. So spoilers if you have not seen the end credit scenes. So the end credit scenes, literally, and this is gonna be hilarious, are my favorite part of this movie. Absolutely, hands down, the two end credit scenes are my favorite part. And I honestly think that if we're looking at superhero movie end credit scenes, these are 2 out of the top 3 end credit scenes ever. These end credit scenes had me jumping up out of my chair like the first time I saw the Black Panther trailer, which I lost my mind. Like, these end credit scenes are fantastic. So there's 2 of them. The first one pays homage to probably one of my favorite comic books as a kid, which is when The Flash races Superman. So there's an end credit scene where they're in a field, looks like they're in Kansas. They're like, hey, which coast are we going to race to? Are they gonna race to the East Coast or West Coast? Flash is like, I've never seen the Pacific. So they decide that they are going to race to see who is the fastest man alive. Obviously, if you know anything, this is the Flash. He has the Speed Force. Superman is extremely fast. One of the things that I find extremely annoying about his character is the fact that he can even keep up with the Flash in any kind of capacity. But still, seeing this live action, even though they don't show the whole race, they only show the beginning, like the Flash lights a firecracker, throws it in front, and then they take off. And that's all you see. But for me, I was like, this is amazing. This is one of my favorite comics as a kid. I remember watching the cartoon and seeing this happen, and I was just so hyped up watching this. So that was the first end credit scene. Let me know what you thought about this end credit scene. So we can talk about it in the comments, because this for me as a DC fanboy was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that this is happening. So second one, the second end credit scene, I was not prepared for at all. At all, period. I was not prepared. I did not see this coming. Everybody had told me that they were cutting all of Lex Luthor's scenes out of the entire movie. I didn't see it coming. I wasn't prepared. I saw no spoilers about this. And when it happened, I literally jumped out of my chair. I was so hyped. And I was hyped because the second end credit scene is setting up the Legion of Doom. So this is what's happening in this end credit scene. So there's two parts to this end credit scene. So what you have is they're in some kind of jail, either in Metropolis or Gotham City. I cannot remember where they are keeping Lex Luthor. It's one of those major cities. They're in a jail. You have a person, he's got a bald head, he's got a straitjacket on, and he's being called out of his cell because he needs to go somewhere. This appears to be Lex Luthor, that's what everybody's thinking, but when the guy turns around to face the guard, it is not Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor has escaped from jail. Boom. Cut to huge mega yacht in the middle of some bay. I'm not sure which bay it is, but they're in the middle of some bay. Huge mega yacht. And on this mega yacht, you have sitting is Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor escaped out of jail. He's suited up, head shaved, everything. He's sitting there, and a boat pulls up to the back of the yacht. And who gets off the back of the yacht but Deathstroke? Deathstroke gets out of the back of the yacht, comes up, starts talking to Les, takes off his mask. We have Joe Manganiello playing Deathstroke. We finally get to see him with the mask, everything. He looks amazing. He looks perfect for Deathstroke. And he is talking to Lex, and Lex is like, well, it seems like the heroes have created a team. Maybe it's time that we create a team of our own. And so that means that we're getting Legion of Doom in the DCEU. I really hope that they do this. I would be so excited if they don't scrap this, because I know there's a lot of problems with the DCEU. I was so hyped. This is like everything I ever have wanted to see in a DCEU. We have Justice League versus Legion of Doom. Like, you can't get better than that. Like, the only thing in comic books that I want to see more than that is a freaking Avengers versus X-Men movie. That would be amazing. That's the only thing I want to see in comic books more than this. But yes, we're getting Legion of Doom. I'm so excited. Let me know if you're excited about this. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments. I would love to talk about it. We're going to talk about this more in the future. I know more news is going to be coming out in the next coming days. So let's get hyped. Let's get excited for what the DCEU is doing in the future. So that's my Justice League review. I know I didn't have a lot in this, but like I said, it was just kind of above average for me. So what I want you to do, let me know in the comments what you liked, what you thought was good about this movie, what you thought was bad about this movie. Are you excited for Flashpoint? Are you excited for Legion of Doom? Let me know in the comments what you think about all this stuff. Just remember to like and subscribe. Hit those buttons down there. Make sure that you hit the bell to get notifications about videos. I'm back, everybody. I'm going to be doing videos on what's going on. I'm going to be reviewing Star Trek. I'm going to be reviewing the first half of Arrow, Flash, Legends, Supergirl. So I'll have those coming up soon. I'll be doing some of my other videos that I've been doing, some news stuff, just some quick hits every now and then. So stay tuned for all of that. Like I said, like and subscribe. And like I said, my name is Oscar Hampton. This is Boldly Nerd. Later days.